We need housing now, and we're really excited to be here doing this with partners, doing this with an open line of communication, at least with the Jamestown Slalom, who know this project is happening, who can apply for this project if they want to live here. So how we take that acknowledgement of that history is so important, and it's gratifying on some level to be able to do something with that, even if it's not, you know, true reparations. So this project really got going in 2022, like I said. It was my first big grant that I had ever written, and we were denied. But we had a place in line for the next funding round, and Department of Commerce, Angela Snow, who probably read that first application, is here today. Thank you, Angela, for seeing through and putting us in line for the next one. It really takes a long time to get in line and get to the front of that line. There's a lot of projects around the state that are looking for this kind of funding, and because this will be a home ownership project for permanent affordable housing, it has a long hill to climb, right? It's expensive to build housing. Our former board member, Terry Nomura, is here today. She told me when she was on our board that affordable housing is not affordable, right? It's not affordable to build. It's quite expensive to build. And even though it's going to be sold to local homeowners earning local wages, it takes a lot of money to get there. These homes will be highly energy efficient, right? They'll be built clustered together so that they're not consuming all of this land area. These homes, these 5 homes, will be about 16 bedrooms here. The folks that will be buying these homes live locally. They're not yet chosen, they haven't even yet applied. But the way our community land trust works is that we will own the land in perpetuity, and we will sell the homes at a price that folks can afford, which is likely to be half of what the median home price is on the market. Right. Yeah. The Department of Commerce has been huge. The Washington State Housing Finance Commission has provided us our construction loan. But locally, City of Port Townsend has a fee deferral program for us. Jefferson County was able to leverage funds. First Fed Foundation, WaFed Foundation. There was a ton of local support that was poured into this project to make happen. And not to leave them out, because they are already here in this room, or in this yard and behind us, but the gardeners, right? They want to work with us. It's so cool to have a community garden be part of this, and then the food bank growers. So a lot of this food is taken home by the gardeners, but it's also delivered to the food bank. So the food bank is involved in this very project too, and I love that. That's the kind of innovative, special project that I would like to see more of. We are here at a groundbreaking, which is a kind of crude term, but it is truly about to begin. So we've already put in electrical, water hookup, sewer hookup, and hopefully next week or so, I'm looking over at the city, we will have permits. The construction is going to take a bit over a year. The homes will ideally be lived in or being moved into by the end of 2026. That is the aim. And while I'm just looking over here, Garrett, our project manager, has been just phenomenal. Anderson Homes out of Swim was the lone contractor that responded to our request for a proposal. So unfortunately, not all local contractors want to take on a publicly funded project, and I know why. And thankfully, Anderson Homes is both local and has the capacity to do such a thing. So truly, props. Other people that couldn't be here today as well are our architects and designers. Terrapin Architecture, so that's Richard Berg, and then Jesse Thomas has been designing for us on this. And who am I missing, Kathy? Who else?
Everett.
Everett, yes. Right there, Everett, our civil engineer. Making sure all the lines are just so, and that we'll have a connecting point for all the utilities. I would love to hand it off to Ginger to say a few words on Pete's behalf, and then I will hear from Representative Theringer as well.
I'm Ginger White, married to Pete von Christierson, whose land this was. We moved, I brought him up from Oregon. We moved into that place 25 years ago, and he had housing on his mind to begin with because that's been a lot of his life's work, is lower middle income housing and projects in regard to a community that is looking for better housing sorts of things. So we were here for a while. This land was not for sale. After a couple of years, it was for sale, and Pete said, I'm going to get that land. We'll do housing on it. And then entered Judy Alexander, who said, let's do gardening on it in the meantime. And 5 years became 18 or so with the garden. And then, Kellen, you were dual with the garden and with the housing trust, and that helped a lot, to put things together. Pete would be here, except that he had an ill day yesterday. We went to Express Care Clinic, and he's better today, got a new med, but he couldn't be here. Are we loud enough that he could be hearing us anyway?
Could do a shout out.
Nice to see some people I know here, and nice to see some people I don't know. And I think that's the history, Pete and Judy and Kellen and others. And I've kind of watched, but it's been gratifying, very gratifying.
Can we do a thank you, Pete, all together?
1, 2, 3.
Yeah, let's do it.
1,
Thanks.
2, 3.
Thank you, Pete!
Well, hello everybody. This is a great turnout. I'm Steve Theringer, your state rep, one of your state reps. Adam Birnbaum's in the back. He's another one of your state reps. As Kellen referred to, there was this little gap of about, I think it was around $400,000. So we were able to fill that gap, and we're just grateful that you've put us in a position to be able to do that kind of stuff. So with your votes, we get to do that kind of thing. So, but it's really great to see the diverse community coming to support this project. As folks know who are involved with housing, there isn't any one answer. It's a whole spectrum of things we need to do, from owner-supported housing or owner-built housing. And just a little history on that. Kellen mentioned that this is the land trust model. The state, before Habitat and owner-built adopted that model, the state wasn't really able to put money into it because of the Constitution limits our ability to give private funds to anyone. But with the land trust model, with the land owned underneath, that opened up this door, and since I've been chair of the capital budget the last 10 years, we've gone from about $10 million to about $70 million in owner-built housing because of this land trust model. I mean, this year we put, I think, close to $740 million into housing in the biennial budget, and about 640 of that is in the Housing Trust Fund, and where a lot of these programs sit through the Department of Commerce. Then the rest of it was in incidental items, but that was a record amount for the state of Washington in investment in housing. So the state understands the need and is trying to address it on that full spectrum, from tiny homes, tiny shelters, to owner-built housing, to public supported housing. And as folks know, there's a lot more work to do. You got to appreciate Kellen and the trust's, Olympic Housing Trust's perseverance. Hopefully the next project won't take 20 years. Hopefully they've learned a lot, and the funding authorities have learned about them. And we'll get more, maybe we'll have, instead of 5 units, we'll have 20 units in the next 5 years. But it does take a community to do this, and I was glad to hear the shout out for the city and for the county, and obviously the state has a role here, but it's all of us working together to try and, facilitate permitting, facilitate funding mechanisms, and standardizing designs and all the things we need to do to be able to build more houses. I think the Department of Commerce says we need 1 million more units in the next decade, and we're not going to get there unless we all work together to make that happen. So Adam and I are just happy to be part of this and to be in a position to be able to help out, and glad to be here, and congratulations.
I just want to touch on what Representative Theringer just said, right? He named the city, the county, and the state. We purposefully didn't take federal funding for this before the trouble we have now. And it's all the more clear to me, and I hope it is to you, how much we're actually going to rely on each other now more than ever. So if you do want to see projects like this continue to happen, we do too, right? We don't just have to build new construction, but that is a way to do it. That's what we're doing here. That's what we'll be doing in Chimacum Commons with the Jefferson Land Trust. We're going to do that, but we also can leverage the existing housing and property we already have. Pete donated this land to us, right? He's not the only one that can do that around here, right? So I would love to see, my goal personally and professionally here is to leverage the housing that we already have and get that into workforce housing that the people living and working here can afford. Olympic Housing Trust can receive a home, property, whatever it is, land or home, own the land, right? And then sell the home to a local buyer who is earning under a certain income threshold. They agree that when they ever sell the house, that they do so at a level that the next workforce household can afford. And therefore it stays in the community, right? It doesn't become a second home, it doesn't become an investment property. It stays in the community and it continues to serve household after household, right? So that is what we can do. If we really want to leverage the housing we have and get to 1 million units, it's not going to just be through building new. We're going to have to use what we already have. So think about that, share that with your networks, right? If we could all take that into the community, I think we have a chance to do something radical and amazing locally.
Yeah. On three. 1, 2, 3.
Government's working together for Dundee.
Well, hello, and I'm Kathy Morgan. I'm the Executive Director for Olympic Housing Trust. Happy to be here. Happy we're all here. Happy this day has come along. Great turnout today, and it really took everybody who was here, all of our funders and the community, to make this happen. Can't really tell, but it will be something as soon as it's done. The community definitely needs more housing. I wish we could do more, and we will eventually, but this is the first one that Olympic Housing Trust has actually put in the ground, and so this is great.
So these are some of the potatoes that Michael pulled up today that we're really excited about. There's funky ones. I forget the name. This one is, it's called Pink Eye because it gets these little pink eyes on it and spotted. And then fingerlings. There was one called Jester that when we cut into we thought was rotten, and it was not. It's just like purple on the inside.
Oh, yeah.
He's been having fun with it. So these are called our onions. We got an awesome harvest out of this. Potatoes. These are going to be our pickling cucumbers, and then cherry tomatoes. Our zucchini bed, and then behind it is winter squash. And this year, I think we are going to pull them out and switch their We're like, we love it so much, but we're going to get a little fancier and do like baby's breath.